beloved Route 66 Prairie, and we walked just a few yards from the alkaline sody schlecks, as people used to call it, with a short vegetation, into an area that has much taller vegetation. It has the blue stem from last year. This didn't burn this past season, so you still have a lot of dead standing vegetation. But here's totally different because this is very wet down here in season, and so we actually have a patch of iris down here. And generally speaking, in this whole area, you have a lot of wetland plants. So we can just walk over just a few yards towards the drainage, and we see other plants that have wetland affinities. This one I like, a relative of this one right here, Lutheran purple loosestrife. A relative of this from Europe is much used in horticulture, but unfortunately it's also a serious invasive in wetlands, especially in the northern reaches in our country. But this is our native loosestrife. It's at the end of the blooming period. It's a beautiful dainty plant, usually with a purple spike throughout. But again, we have to remember we're currently in a bit of a drought cycle, but the native plants are adapted. So they may not look the best from the way we look at it, but as we all know, dry weather takes its toll. Purple loosestrife, one of the many wetland species. And of course, this is a wonderful thing. I'll be blooming soon. The first ones are blooming elsewhere, just a bit too dry. But this is swamp milkweed. It's actually one of the favorites for monarch butterflies. And swamp milkweed, Hibiscus incarnata, incarnate, red. It's a beautiful pink, reddish pink bloom. It's very common here. It's a typical wetland plant. And, there are tons of others. Not all of them showy, or at least not all at the same time. But milkweed is another one. Slender leaf milkweed. Again, we have a lot of vegetation from dead vegetation from last year. But slender milkweed, and it too is a favorite of monarch butterflies as a food plant. As we walk towards the drainage, we're still walking through some rather rank vegetation here. We see over here on the left Culvis root. Culvis root is just essentially a prairie plant, but likes a little bit on the moisture gradient. Beautiful plant, garden worthy. I don't recall what the name alludes to, but it's also a medicinal plant from way back when people relied on that. There's a white flower plant up ahead of us. It has large palmate leaves. They're actually grown in horticulture for its palmate leaves primarily, and it's called Glade Mellow. Again, the name is a bit puzzling to me because I don't think it grows in glades. It's relatively uncommon. Glade Mellow. We've actually established it here. This came from a population Christian county of like Niantic. Yeah, there are a few of these in bloom. You can see them in the very far distance. You see two huge white blossoms, and that is hibiscus. And they are loaded in buds. They're just waiting for a good shower. In a week and 10 days from now, they'll be in glorious bloom, white with red eyes, pink with red eyes. So they come in several shades of color, but mostly white and pink. That's hibiscus, widely grown in gardens. And then down here at the base, some more wetland plants. This one is rattlebox. Has a pretty yellow flower. That's rattlebox. And we have some other relatives of that here. And then, very short this year, again because of the climatic conditions, weather conditions, Illinois, southern Illinois. It's a country of hot, humid, dry conditions. Get everything. Anyway, this time of the year, certainly hot and dry. very beautiful plant. Common name is sneezeweed. I think we've talked about it briefly before, and this is also one of the more southern species. That makes our prairie different from other prairies up north. So it's as a prairie remnant, this is well worth preserving because it has so many southern elements in it. We ought to talk a little bit like that too, you shouldn't we? But we're not far enough south to have that kind of a road. Just kidding.